And I'm not trying to discourage anyone. Try it, but it's not for everyone. What's going on, people? I'm making another video here. It's gonna be a little bit different than what I've usually been doing, because usually I've been doing just food challenge. Dodger! Okay, I might not be doing the food challenges, but Emily's over there on her second or third popsicle right now in the last 30 minutes, so we'll let her keep doing her thing. I'm gonna do my thing right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and do a top 10 videos. These are my top 10. I had to go and put 10 things that I think are 10 important things you need to know about dispatchers and the dispatching world. I myself am a 911 dispatcher. I dispatch for the police department. I currently dispatch for the fire department. I will never dispatch for the medical department because that is a whole other level of something else that I don't even want to get into right now. I'll go ahead and rant about it later on. We're going to go and start off with number one. Number one is we do take a lot of verbal abuse. Dispatchers, I mean, they're called on at the worst time. You never dial 911 when you're in a good mood or anything like that. I've been cussed out in English, I've been cussed out in Spanish, and probably some other foreign languages. And I'm not trying to discourage anyone. Try it, but it's not for everyone. Number two, the training is hard. Becoming a dispatcher is not easy. I'm kind of surprised that I'm still in it. I've been doing it for a few years. One of the hardest things I've ever had to do. For some find it easy. I found it pretty hard. It took me 13 months to be considered a full dispatcher. So it took me a while to training on phone, training on the radio. And there's also training programs that you get sent to. There's like the basic telecommunicators license. I am licensed by the state. In the state of Texas, at least, you need to be licensed. There's other trainings you go through. One is stress management. I'm with the fire department right now. I had to go to training for hazardous materials. We have suicide intervention is another one. I've taken calls. I know a lot of other dispatchers have too, where people call in because they feel suicidal. They might have already ingested in some pills. They might be having the thoughts, and that training helps with able to talk someone down. I've had my share of talking to a few people, and it's not really talking to them as a dispatcher that you need to do, it's talking to them as a person. Most of the time I've gone from someone talking about wanting to kill himself to we ended up talking about cartoons. He was a Tiny Toons fan, so that helped me out because I was able to talk about that. Number three, we are good lie detectors. Most of us are. Sometimes my detection's off a little bit. More than likely, a dispatcher will be able to tell if you're lying, if you're being over dramatic. It does happen a lot. Dispatchers will never call you out. We'll just continue to let you ramble on and see if you change your story. We won't let you know that we're on to you, but we'll let the officer know. Number four is one of the things that I hate the most, and that is 911 hangups. I hate 911 hangups, mainly because they waste a lot of time, okay? I'm going to go ahead and tell you this. If you accidentally dial 911, or you pocket dial, or you give your kid your phone to play with and they dial 911, it's okay. Stay on the line and tell your dispatcher, hey, I'm sorry, it was an accident. That's fine. That's it. You go on with your life. We'll go on with our next call. What happens is people get scared because they think, oh my gosh, 911 hang up, it's not an emergency, I'm going to get arrested, I'm going to get fined, something's going to happen to me. No, that's not what's going to happen. What happens in those situations when someone does hang up, it takes up more of our time because it's a 911 hang up. It takes priority over other calls, especially if it's a hang up, because you don't know if someone is in danger on the other end. So that takes priority. We have to call them back. Number six, this is one that makes me laugh a little bit because I'm guilty of doing this on purpose. The thing you need to know about dispatchers is they're very superstitious of the word quiet, or saying that everything's calm. You will get things thrown at you. I have. You will be called things by your co-workers, which I have. You'll be threatened. I've been threatened a few times. I've been punched a few times because the radio will be silent. Officers aren't doing their traffic stops, so they're just on patrol. We're not getting any calls, and I'll just be sitting there in my chair. It's pretty quiet, guys. Maybe a minute or two after I say that it's quiet, I use the Q word, all hell breaks loose. Okay, more on a serious note, it's number 7. Dispatchers have regulars, people who will call sometimes daily, sometimes a few times a day. People like these often have issues with alcoholism or mental issues. A dispatcher shouldn't disregard those people, and they don't. I'm not using any names or anything like that, but I know for the city I worked with, there was one person who would call maybe 2 times a night. This person has a mental illness. This person has issues with alcohol and is convinced that this person is being stalked. So every officer knows this person's name, this person's address. I just have to see, the phone number, and I know exactly who it is, and I'm already typing out the address, getting ready to dispatch a call. Alright, number 8, dispatchers need to be ready for every type of call. You never know what's going to be on the other end of that phone line. It could be someone complaining that that dogs are barking every night. I had this one call where I was having lunch. Dispatchers, they eat at their desk. Like, that's part of the job. You have to eat while you work. A call comes in. I'm thinking, it's 3 in the afternoon. It's probably, a routine call. Well, I answer the phone, and it's a 15-year-old girl, and she's screaming, crying, panicking, and you just have to jump into the moment like that. You need to know what you're going to have to do. So I immediately ask what's happening. She says that her brother was driving her to a friend's house, that her brother has a history of seizures. While driving, he had a seizure and he's unconscious, but the car is still moving. She doesn't know how to drive or operate a vehicle, and they're going down one of the busiest streets in my city. So I had to put myself in that situation within a second of hearing the information. You gotta prepare for the worst kind of things. You gotta prepare for the worst kind of things because you never know what's gonna be on the other end, and you need to be able to think fast. And this kind of goes into my next important thing to know. You don't necessarily have to have your address to get an officer to you or to get any kind of help to you. Okay, dispatchers have to know their city backwards and forwards and inside and out. For those who are calling who don't know exactly where they are, give us a landmark and we'll tell you which one. If you say, oh, I'm in front of a Walmart, okay, about 99% of the time your dispatchers will know all the addresses to like Walmarts, mall, hospitals. So just give us that information on like what you see, we'll find you. Give us cross streets or intersection, like a nearby intersection. That's a major one. Number 9, we dispatchers probably listen to some of the worst moments of your life when you call 911. Like I said, I'm not going to use too many examples, but I've received a call where a man states that he just arrived home and he sees that his wife shot herself in the bathroom. That's a horrible feeling. You're hearing this man who's been married to this woman for years, who obviously loves him, who has had children with this woman, feels like he knew her, but it turns out that while he was at work, she wrote a letter to him and killed herself. You do hear like a lot of really sad stories, especially the ones involving kids. Any stories like that involving kids will tear up like the most seasoned dispatcher. Like it hurts, and I'm gonna stop myself there and just get to the last one. Number 10, from what I've seen, like again, these are things that I see. Dispatchers are needed. Like in general, yes, but there's always a short supply of dispatchers. There's such a high turnover rate. Like I said, there was 13 months of training for me, and so I was, on my own, trusted. When I got hired in a group of 6 people. It was me and 5 other girls that got hired for the job. We all started our training at the same time. Only myself and 1 other girl made it all the way to being full dispatchers. The other ones quit. Dispatch trainees quit all the time. It's super common, and that might be a reason why, as when you're a trainee, when you start off, you do feel that there's this wall between you and the other dispatchers, and that's because dispatchers know not to get comfortable with anyone because people just quit. People can't cut it. But I'm happy to say that 1 other girl who made it's now a police officer. That's common. A lot of dispatchers become police officers. This is just like a step in to get, more knowledge and to become a more proficient officer. I'm trying to think of, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 8 people that I worked with as a dispatcher are now police officers. That's some important things you need to know about being a dispatcher and being in the dispatch world. I mean, if anyone has any more questions, I'd be happy to go ahead and answer them, do another video of this. I'll probably do a video answering some of my funniest calls, maybe some of my saddest calls. Yeah, I think I might find like a little niche here somewhere that I could share some pretty good information. I could just, speak from the heart and not have to, have anything scripted or do anything. Not to say that I'm still not going to do food challenges. I just think that this is some pretty important information that people need to hear, people need to know about. But yeah, I guess for now that's going to be it.